Good day everyone, my name is Logan Wort. I'm Executive Secretary for ATAF, African Tax Administration Forum. The past 12 years have been quite an exciting journey because during this period, as an organization, we've contributed through the work of our country programs, technical assistance, training, and the various activities both on a continental and at a global level to the growth of domestic resource mobilization and revenue collection in the continent in a not so insignificant way. A big part of this is demonstrated through the fact that over the last 5 years alone, we have, through direct technical work, contributed to the collection of over $800 million in taxes banked, over $2.5 billion in taxes assessed. Now these are taxes and revenue that would never have been collected had there not been the type of programs instituted by ATAF. And so this journey indicates that the growth in domestic resource mobilization is very much possible on the continent. With the support of the African Development Bank and the African Union, we think that it is time to broaden our scope, and it's time to broaden the journey in our quest to improve tax and development on the continent and domestic revenue mobilization in general. So what is all of this? We've embarked on a journey that we call ATAF in the next decade. We looked at 7 distinct value propositions over the next decade that ATAF should be focusing on. Some of this include our key focus of tax administration, but also to bring a stronger element of tax policy into this. Also addressing some of the very pressing tax needs of this continent, the real areas of either revenue on the one hand or illicit outflows on the other hand. On the revenue side, our extractive industry, the key drivers for most African economies, and that must be a key for focus over the next decade. On the illicit financial flow side, we've got to look at high net worth individuals and the taxation of that, and the fact that a lot of that type of wealth flows outside of the continent, so that will be a focus. The informal sector is one of the biggest contributors to GDP. It is one of the biggest employers in the non-public sector in all African countries, and yet there's not sufficient focus on that. The next decade will see us focus on the informal sector and the impact of the informal sector, and getting that informal sector more in line with the broader compliance network that we are trying to build. Then of course there's technology. 2 elements of technology. One, there's digital businesses who are trading in our countries with no physical presence, and therefore they don't get taxed. Our domestic businesses in the same industry compete with them, but has to pay an average of 30% tax. And so we've got to fix that. Then there's the other part of technology. Technology that enable a good taxpayer experience, good administration, honest administration, predictable administration, where filing can be within 24 hours, refunds can be within 24 hours, and we do not have to negotiate with officials. And the possibility of corruption interventions are reduced to the minimum. Good technology-driven administration will increase collection, but importantly, will ease the taxpayer experience. A big part of this, therefore, is matching the ATAF operations, the Secretariat and its administration, to these changes and the growing growth and need for development within ATAF as an organization. And in this regard, we will also be looking at changes to the Secretariat structure. And so we're looking at emphasizing a member-focused Secretariat, a member-focused organization that will have 3 very distinct areas of operations. One, looking at member services and domestic resource mobilization in general. And in here, we want to do things like our capacity building value proposition, our technical assistance, our country programs, that is where value has been created. So we see exponentially a growth in that area. Then we want to bring together our training, so short-term training and scholarly training. And for that, we hope to launch in 2022 the ATAF African Tax Academy, where all our training, long and short-term, will be located, including some of the work that we've been doing over the few years, including our work with universities through the master's program, the academic tax journal that we have launched through our research department this year, and all of that we want to bring together in the academy. On the policy side, we want to specifically look at domestic and international tax and bring in the element of customs and trade. And then we want to take those two streams and blend it into a powerful house of technical and strategic support to tax administrations on the continent. And that is where we're taking the organization. In the middle, we want to build a strong sense of strategy, monitoring and evaluation, management information systems, so that we can look at the impact of a largely demand-driven work program that we have. By doing that, both you and I and the Council and our General Assembly can measure the value for the dollar of membership fees, the dollar of host fees, the dollar of donor fees that we get, and look at the impact that we both get as the growth as an organization and in domestic revenue authorities, but also through tax to GDP ratios, through the broader measuring of collection improvement. And finally, we must continue to build a strong, transparent, and accountable administration. And in that regard, our finance and finance management is a priority, and we continue to strengthen our finance administration. And we want to remain good in our administration, transparent in our administration, and honest, because that is what we are about. Otherwise, we want to build solid administration that backs up this immense, technically complex work that we are trying to build. So that's the story of our journey in the new decade. And I'd like to invite you, our member, CG, country correspondent, commissioner, you, current donor, potential donor, civil society, all of our partners that works with us, and those who do not yet work with us, to join us on this incredible journey. I don't know about you, but we know what we're about, and we think we have an idea where we're going. Why don't you join us? Thank you.